Good morning. It's day 192 of Walk with Winston. Coming to you on a Friday morning. Fresh temperatures here in Tampa Bay this morning. Hey, I've got a tech tip that may be useful in your daily life today. So those of you who know me know that I've spent probably almost a third to half of my career in tech. And I'm also probably one of the least techie people you know. I was really blessed to be surrounded by some amazing tech talent for 20 years of my career. And yet oftentimes when we run into a tech issue, there's often a very simple answer to most issues. I have a friend of mine, Skip, who also works in tech, and he managed at one point in his career a huge help desk, global help desk for employees of his company all around the globe. And sometimes when they would be dealing with a particularly difficult end user, who would not even listen to directions or suggestions, they had this kind of code word about those users. And they say, yep, we understand the problem and we've isolated it. And the issue is between the keyboard and the chair. And there's only one part of the tech system that's between the keyboard and the chair, and that's the individual, right? So sometimes we're the issue, not the tech. But there is a principle in tech, and I've seen this work, whether it's been a modem, a computer, a phone. And sometimes the answer is really, really simple when we're stuck, frozen, or otherwise just immobilized. And it's called reboot. Sometimes we just have to do something as simple as reboot, which means we have to power down, unplug, and just start over. So one of the things that occurs to me right now in this environment is that we may feel overwhelmed, stuck, immobilized. And this simple tech tip often works in tech. And I think it could also work in life too, where all we have to do when we're feeling overwhelmed is we have to unplug. Think about it. We are hyper connected. We're connected more than we've ever been with technology. And sometimes that connectivity doesn't serve us at all. Sometimes we have to unplug from the news. We have to unplug from the media. We have to unplug from the day-to-day rush of life. And we have to reboot. This is a season that some of us have a little bit more time on our hands than we did before. How about rebooting with a nap? How about rebooting with a good book? How about unplugging and listening to some awesome music? There's a book I'll recommend. I highly recommend this book. I found it to be life-giving during this season. It's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And I have found it to be an amazingly prophetic book at this time. It's not been out that long, but it's a book that really spoke to me. Talks about, it's an evaluation of modern life, but it also kind of looks back at Jesus's life and talked about how if you look at the Gospels, he was rarely, if ever, hurried. He would find seclusion and go pray. He would observe the Sabbath. He protected his rest. Sleeping in a boat during a storm. I mean, there's just so many stories of Jesus and how he was not hurried. You know, his best friend was on his deathbed, and he he took his time. He got there, and it showed his true power by not being hurried. So I love that book. I commend it to you. And one of the practices that this author recommends is just a renewal of the Sabbath, not from a legalistic perspective, but more from a what it could really do for you and helping you unplug from the hecticness of our society and to really plug back into your source of inspiration, of rest, of provision. And it's something I'm going to take a hard look at. How can I really unplug on a daily basis? Renew, rest, replug, reboot. And then other times where I can do that for an extended period of time. One of my business mentors is named Dan Sullivan. And one of the things he advocates is the concept of free days. And free days is a 24-hour period where you do not think about work, you do not read a workbook or anything that would inspire you from a work perspective, but that you take that time and do something completely unwork related. And his premise is that by constraining our work time and focusing intentionally on free time, we actually end up being way more productive at work and way more creative at work. So here's the tech tip. You know, so many times when you call the tech help desk, what do they tell you to do? Unplug the router from the wall. Let it sit there for a minute or two, then plug it back in, right? And then all of a sudden it works faster and better and more powerfully than before. Same with my phone, same with my laptop. So my friends, maybe life is as simple as this tech tip. We need to reboot and relax. With that, I'll see you guys again later. Have a great day.